Hey everyone, it is Tanya. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new here. Today I am renovating Pinecrest Apartments number 404 in Evergreen Harbor, and this is going to be more of a coastal inspired apartment. Obviously, we are not on the coast here. We don't actually have apartments that are on a coastline. We have them here in Evergreen Harbor, and we also have them in the world of San Myshuno. So, I just had to pick one of the two if I wanted to do this idea. But I really wanted to build something coastal inspired, and I wasn't sure which sort of vibe I wanted to go for, but I knew I was going to want to use the tool mod to change a couple of doors and windows. I don't change all of them, I just do a couple of them here and there, mostly utilizing pieces from Cats and Dogs, which are super coastal inspired. If you're not familiar with coastal design, it's characterized by the reflection of natural seaside elements. So the sand, the sky, and it's kind of brought into the home through colors and textures. So it's basically the vibe of the beach without being at the beach. So I have blue cabinets over here. I really wanted to make that love seat work in that swatch at first, but I think that was a little bit too nautical instead of coastal. So I end up changing the swatch of that, and I do some really weird stuff with the sofas. You'll see when we get to that. It was a process, and I'm not sure it's going to be in the final version, but I really like how it looks. It's just very finicky when it comes to being functional. And of course, we want the builds to be functional. So I'll talk about that when we get to it. But over here, I'm just adding a window to the kitchen using the tool mod. Once again, another window from Cats and Dogs. I think it looks really nice here. Speaking of which, all of this apartment will be functional even without having these windows replaced. They're not placed in important areas of the build. So you should be absolutely fine to have this all functional. The doors that I put in the living space are in the same spot that the slider originally was, and the windows that I moved and stuff are all in open spaces. So if you don't have the tool mod and you don't want to replace the windows, this apartment will still be absolutely fine. I just haven't replaced windows with the tool mod in an apartment in a long time, so I thought it would be fun today. Anyway, this kitchen is coming together. I do end up having the sink in the island. I really like how I placed that corner shelf in the cabinet space as well to have the little shelf with the boat on it. I just thought it was so precious, and it's a very similar color. The cabinets and stuff I'm using are from the Parenthood pack, and I ended up using one of the windows from, I believe this is from Parenthood as well, that I'm placing over here because the one from Cats and Dogs just didn't fit the exact vibe I wanted. So the outside of this building looks a little silly with all of the different windows added. But from inside, I really liked how it looked. So that's what I went with. I also changed the island counterpieces to be a white swatch instead, just so there'd be a little bit more variety. And then we're getting a couple of clutter pieces in this kitchen, light over the island, some plants, this cute little tray. I also really liked the bar stools I used. They're from Base Game, but I just thought having something a little bit more subtle there versus the super coastal ones I could have grabbed from Cats and Dogs helped to make this space look a little bit more modern, which was something I was trying to do as well. And then I ended up using these curtains from my wedding stories. I almost never use these curtains, and I was so happy with them. I just wanted something that felt light and airy, but I didn't want to use the same ones from Cats and Dogs that I use all the time. So I thought that these were perfect. I also wanted to have a little surface by the front door. So I ended up using this little cabinet from Cats and Dogs as well. I don't end up keeping that plant there. I will be moving that and getting rid of it later, but I try it out, and I get a couple of these paintings up here as well. I think I get 4 of them, actually. I think I get all 4. If you don't know, these 4 paintings from Cats and Dogs do link together to create a cohesive design if they're put in a 4 square like that, which is always a little bit of a fun thing to include. I occasionally use it that way. I don't always, because I feel like they work regardless, but it is nice to use them the way they were intended. But over here, I do get the little lighthouse piece that came with the Cats and Dogs pack, as well as this basket of books and stuff from the latest book nook kit. I really like that. And then we're just cluttering up the counter under this little shelf piece. I just get some books and a bread box. And then I really wanted to put a plant in the kitchen, but this one just had such a weird shadow. So I started going with that one, and then I moved them out and didn't like any of them. So we don't keep a plant over there. But for the living room, I layered 2 of these rugs from Eco Lifestyle. I thought that they worked nicely. I liked the texture on them. They just looked really nice. And then I was trying to figure out how to make these sofas work. And then I was like, but I like this sofa. And then I had the idea of combining them. And Usually when I do this works out. I did scale and like mess with them a little bit, and sometimes I could get them to work, but most of the time I couldn't. So I will probably just have one or the other of the sofas here, probably the Book Nook version instead of the other one. But I really wanted this to work because the texture of these love seats from the, I want to say they're from Perfect Patio, is perfect for this style. I love them so much. It's just since it wasn't entirely functional every time I used it, I don't feel comfortable uploading it that way. So I think it's just going to be one love seat or the other, but I think it looks so cool. I also used a coffee table here that's not a coffee table. It's a dining table that I like shoved into the ground with tulle. That was fully functional, perfect, exactly how I wanted it to work. There were no issues with that, so I'll keep that in the build. I think it looks really cool, and I feel like it opened the idea of more coffee tables in the future, that I can just take a dining table or a desk, and I'm probably going to be exploring with that because I think it just adds so much more customization to the game. So that was a fun thing to experiment with. This was definitely a very experimental build, but I feel like that's how you have the most fun with it. So definitely let me know what you think of these ideas that I came up with here, and which of the two sofas you prefer if you could only have one. I think I'm going to put the Book Nook ones, but they're so cute. And the ones from the Perfect Patio kit or stuff pack look like this chair that I have over in the corner. Because that's just the matching one. So I decided to put a regular one of that over in the corner. And then we're just getting a coat rack by the front door, as well as this little stool. And I believe I put a lamp on there. Yeah, I did. So pretty simple decorations over here, but I think it looks quite nice. I just really like how this apartment came out. I also got some umbrellas by the front door. I try to remember to include that since it is a functional item that your Sims can go ahead and pick what umbrella they want to use when it's raining outside, which is really cute. That came with seasons. And then we're just getting some clutter on this little shelving unit in the corner, which is also from Cats and Dogs. So I got some like clothing hanging up on there. There's some books down here, and I believe a box as well. So pretty simple, but I think it looks quite nice having that little bit of clutter in the hallway space. Since it is such a small space with so many doors, having some sort of personalization I thought looked nice. Anyway, in the kitchen here, I'm just getting some aprons, and then we get a cork board up above the island. I did think about putting a parenting board instead, but it just didn't feel right for this house for some reason, or for this apartment, so I put a cork board. And I mostly get postcards that have like coastal vibes to them, so there's water of some sort. So I have one from Brindleton Bay, we have one from Sunset Valley, and just a couple others. I got a mountain one in there too. I just thought it looked cute. And then we're getting a rug in the kitchen. I like to do this as like a comfy place to stand while you're doing dishes. I've always had one in my kitchen in real life, so I try to include that in The Sims. Plus, it gives you more decoration to add to a space. But this is going to be the bathroom. This took me a long time to lay out because I really wanted to have a tub in this space, not just a shower or a shower tub combo. So I played around with it for a long time. We get there in the end and settle for a shower tub combo because of where the door is, and the layout just would have been weird. But I did use the sink from Cats and Dogs, which I almost never use. This is like the only swatch of it I like, and it worked really nicely for this apartment because of the blue counter or the blue cabinet underneath. And the reason I don't like the other swatches is because all of the metals are very strange colors. This one's just like a silver, so it matched everything really nicely. And the cabinet above the toilet is from Parenthood, and it's the same swatch. So it's just a very blue bathroom. The whole apartment is very blue. That's kind of the theme today. I just went full on blue, but it works. It's for coastal. And then I used the same bed from Cats and Dogs in both bedrooms in two different swatches. There's this blue and brown one, and then there's another one that's just blue. So I ended up using both of those and decorating accordingly. I used the matching bedside tables here in this room from the same pack. I think they're really pretty. They're just huge. I have so much trouble using the bedside tables from Cats and Dogs because of the size of them. They are absolutely enormous, so they just look a little silly, but I really wanted to go for this style, so I pulled through with this build and I used them, but I am always struggling to use those. I did get two different dressers in this room as well. They don't exactly match, but they still kind of fit the vibe, and I like that sort of mismatched style when it comes to coastal as well. So I have this dresser with a mirror attached from the cottage living pack, And then I end up having the cats and dogs dresser in here as well. I'm pretty sure I believe either in the blue or the white swatch. I guess we'll find out together because I haven't placed it down yet. I'm still cluttering up the bedside tables, trying to make it look a little bit more realistically placed because everything was kind of hugging the back of the bedside table because of how big they are. I also got a couple pieces of clutter up on the dresser over here. Got the little kitty statue, which is so cute. And so I'm just placing all of that so it looks a little bit more organically placed. I also got the same curtains in here that I used in the living room. I think they are so, so pretty. And then this is that dresser that I had mentioned. It looks like I grabbed it in the blue swatch. I wasn't sure where it was going to fit best. So I kind of just shoved things into the wall ever so slightly to make sure it works. And then we're decorating around it. I think this is a really pretty dresser. This is one that I use very often, or I used to very often when I would make fake changing tables before we got infants and changing tables in the game, because it has that beautiful lip on the back. And I don't know, I really like this dresser. It's just one that I've always used quite a bit of. I did get a comfy chair over in the corner of this room as well, also from Cats and Dogs, heavily using that pack in this apartment build. And then just getting some extra clutter for up on the dresser, some books and like lotions and colognes and all of that sort of stuff. I didn't give too much thought to who I thought was living in this apartment, other than the fact that I was thinking they were probably adults, probably roommates of some sort, siblings, something like that, because I did decorate both of these rooms as like double bedrooms that either of them could be the primary suite. So, you know, it could be for whoever you'd like. And if you want to have a family in here, you could change one of the bedrooms and customize it to whoever you have living here, like any build I do. So this one is using that same bed and some huge bedside tables from Cats and Dogs as well. But the other set of bedside tables, these ones are also really pretty, but once again, have the same problem of being massive. So I don't use them very often. And I love the swatch of this bed. The pattern on the bed is so pretty and the colors, I just really enjoy it. And so I was happy to use it in this build. I just got to use all the good blue swatches. I will take any excuse to use all of the good blue swatches in a build. So if you have any other ideas that allow me to use lots of blue, I am totally down. But yeah, just decorating the bedside tables, trying to make it look organic and trying not to have the exact same items as the other bedroom. So I'm having like a plant, some different lotions. We have our phone, a little journal, separate glasses instead of that like glasses stand that I have in the other room. And then I got a base game dresser in here just so that it wasn't exactly the same as the other room. Plus this one is kind of worn down and gives that sort of shabby chic coastal vibe to it. I think it looks really nice. And then I, of course, just am cluttering that up with a couple of items. And that should be it for this build. I really hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. If you did, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. You can also subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more and click that bell to be notified when I upload. Thank you so very much for watching. Enjoy the screenshots and I will see you all in the next one. Bye everyone.